We give the police too much power. We do not supervise how they are trained. Does anybody here know the training that police get? Should we care? I think so. Because I think they're trained to hate Indigenous people. I think they're trained to hate Black and Indigenous people of color. I think they're trained to look at us as less than human. And until we start putting the curriculum, Canada's genocidal curriculum, and all of its root causes, we will continue to see our brothers and sisters being killed at the hands of police.
Because it's easy. Yes, yes. I'm self-taught, so I see it on, like, going to my introversion on my computer. I just play with drugs. Nothing major. Scratch. No, I am in a band. I'm a one-man band, yeah. Yeah, I play guitar.
Finally at the end, Stephen. Iggy. Yeah.
It's a great honor to be here today, and in honor of those people that we've lost, our brothers and sisters in this horrible tragedy. We have a sacred fire, and we also have our tobacco and our sacred medicines so that we can put our intentions into the universe. I asked my partner to kind of show you guys the protocol. We have a basket of tobacco. If anyone else wants to add their intentions and their prayer, they can add it to this fire.
Our tobacco is our medicine we pray with for the Creator. When I pray, I didn't usually know how to pray, but with the elders, the first thing that I learned is to ask for help for myself. And this time I pray for all the families that lost their loved ones in this tragedy.
So the basket is here. If anyone else wants to come up or add their intentions to this fire so that we can hold a vigil for these families like Faye was saying. Before any ceremony or any tribal event or personal ceremony, we always begin with a purification to clean our minds and our spirits so that we can start today and tonight in a good way. I'm going to sing a song called The Buffalo Spirit. It's a Sundance song. I'm going to sing it in Blackfoot and a little bit of Mi'kmaq. Matosi, Istapato Peopa and Kukomikisa. Metaniko Pita Sixanan, Istabato Peopa, Espamo Kinan, Kimo Kinan, Estamatsu Kinan, and Sukapi. I ask Creator and our source of all life, our grandmother Moon, to watch over us and to protect us and to show us all the good things.
So much, Bryce. At the end of the speeches, we'll invite the community who is ever interested to put a prayer into the sacred fire. I invite all our speakers to come and take a seat. Our next speaker is going to be Faye Desjardins.
Oui, bonjour, hi. Mon nom c'est Faye Desjardins. Mon nom c'est pour honorer ma mère qui a été dans les pensionnats autochtones. Puis moi qui ai grandi dans les systèmes des services sociaux, fait que j'ai changé souvent de nom. Beaucoup de gens me connaissent comme Lisa Gagné, mais maintenant je préfère Faye pour honorer ma famille. Je viens de la Saskatchewan. D'une communauté qu'on nomme Muskogee, dans la vallée des Prairies, la vallée Capelle, qu'on appelle. Je suis aussi une maman d'une petite fille, d'une jeune femme de 14 ans. Elle, sa grand-mère, vient aussi des communautés Anishinaabe au Témiscamingue. Je suis aussi intervenante depuis plus de 20 ans. Je travaille avec les femmes. Puis je suis très honorée aujourd'hui de parler avec Hélène Gabriel. C'était une personne qui a vraiment changé ma vie dans le sens de m'apprendre la réalité des femmes autochtones, qu'est-ce qu'ils vivent au quotidien. Puis aussi de reconnecter vraiment avec ce que ma mère a vécu et toutes les histoires des femmes depuis 20 ans que j'entends, hommes et femmes en intervention, des difficultés qu'ils vivent tous les jours en itinérance, dans les situations de prostitution, d'exploitation, puis présentement avec les femmes qui sont incarcérées. C'est une réalité que ces femmes-là vivent tous les jours, de difficultés, comment ils vont pouvoir retourner dans la société puis d'être vus comme des personnes capables de vivre une vie équilibrée. C'est ça, c'est difficile de parler de ces choses-là, mais c'est très important. Je suis pas... je prends cette voie-là aujourd'hui parce que souvent, ils n'ont pas cette voie-là. Puis quand ils s'ouvrent à moi, ben c'est pas... c'est important que ça soit dit. Qu'est-ce qui m'aide beaucoup, c'est le tambour. Puis quand moi, j'ai rencontré ma mère qui vivait ces difficultés-là, c'est ce chant-là qui est venu à moi pour honorer. C'est un chant d'honneur pour les familles qui ont perdu leurs enfants, mais aussi toutes les histoires du génocide culturel qu'on entend, les pertes des enfants dans les pensionnats qui ne sont pas retournés à la maison. Les femmes avec qui j'ai travaillé dans la rue, qui ne sont plus en vie aujourd'hui à cause des difficultés sociales qui sont présentes. Je prie pour elles, les hommes aussi qui vivent les mêmes difficultés sociales. Aussi ma fille qui, à cause qu'on n'entend pas la vraie histoire du Canada, qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Ma fille, elle me dit souvent, j'ai honte d'être autochtone parce qu'on n'en parle pas. C'est qui? Les histoires de fierté de notre culture. Je trouve ça triste parce que j'ai tellement travaillé fort, moi, à reconnecter, à réapprendre mon histoire. Puis, je suis là pour elle aussi. Fait que je vais vous partager le chant d'honneur. Ça s'appelle Mère Terre.
Yeah.
la marche pour le congrès sur l'exploitation sexuelle. C'était un honneur de te voir encore aujourd'hui, puis de pouvoir partager nos paroles aujourd'hui pour la cause importante.
Bonjour. Je suis nerveuse parce que c'est ça. Je m'attends pas à ça, mais en tout cas, mon amie Fée m'a écrit, puis elle m'a appelé, puis elle a dit Sorette, j'ai besoin de toi. Fait que j'ai même pas posé la question. Je pense que j'ai dit oui tout de suite, tu sais, parce que pour moi, Fée, c'est une grande dame. Puis vraiment, honneur à toi, Fée, pour toutes les causes que tu défends, puis défendre ton peuple comme ça. Moi, je trouve ça... wow, t'es une belle et grande dame. Fait que dès qu'elle me l'a demandé, j'ai dit oui. Après ça, j'ai dit, OK, tu veux que je sois à côté de toi? Je vais être là. Mais moi, là, elle me dit, puis là, moi, je me sens gênée parce que j'ai pas le goût. La cause, c'est pour les Autochtones, c'est pour toutes ces personnes-là qui sont mortes pour... en tout cas, je vais rester calme. Puis, elle m'a dit, Sorette, raconte ton histoire parce que ça se croise. Fait que moi, je viens parler du racisme. Je veux juste vous dire, tout petit, que le racisme existe encore. En 2022, ma fille, elle s'est faite... Elle était dans une école secondaire, puis dans cette ville-là, il n'y avait pas beaucoup de Noirs. Puis, sa travailleuse sociale l'a pris à grippe. Fait qu'elle l'a insulté, elle lui disait du monde comme toi, elle lui a dit toi tu seras jamais rien dans la vie. Écoute, elle l'a enfermé. On avait passé dans les nouvelles, elle l'avait enfermé dans les classes blanches, puis quand on enferme un enfant là-dedans, c'est quand ils sont méchants, quand ils sont déstabilisés, puis elle envoyait ma fille là tout le temps, c'était l'enfer. Puis quand vous allez dans ces classes-là, c'est à peu près 10 minutes ou 15 minutes, elle la laissait là des 1 heure de temps. C'était l'enfer. Écoutez, elle y a fait vivre l'intimidation et tout. Pour faire une histoire courte, quand j'ai pris l'école à grippe, j'ai appelé le ministère de l'Éducation, j'ai appelé le chose des citoyens. Le chose des citoyens m'ont dit appelle le maire, on dit ça. Tout ça pour vous dire que jusqu'à aujourd'hui, il n'y a rien. Ils m'ont même menacé que si je disais le nom de la commission scolaire, c'est moi qui se faisais poursuivre. Ils m'ont dit sors ta fille de là, genre si t'es pas content. Mais elle va rester là, la travailleuse sociale, parce qu'elle est syndiquée. Fait que des injustices comme ça, puis des injustices comme ça, je trouve que ça n'a pas sa place. Parce qu'on est tous des humains. C'est pas la couleur de peau qui doit faire. Puis c'est pas parce que t'as un titre. Elle a magané, ma fille. Ils ont magané. Ils les ont tués. Eux autres, ils continuent à être en fonction. Mais les familles, ils pleurent, par exemple. Tu comprends? Fait que je vais arrêter là. Je vais essayer d'être poli. Puis, écoutez, en 2024, ça n'a plus sa place. Ça n'a plus sa place. Sérieux, là. Si je me coupe, on saigne tout rouge, là. Ça n'a plus sa place. Fait qu'en tout cas, fait que, merci. Je sais pas trop qu'est-ce que j'ai dit, mais je sais que vous travaillez fort. Puis je trouve ça... Ah oui, je vais finir avec ça. Je trouve ça dommage aussi que tous ces organismes-là qui travaillent autant pour le peuple, pour notre peuple, pour tous les petits organismes qui disent qu'on est des petits, ils sont tous des grands. Parce que le ministère, là, ou les grosses compagnies, là, qui foutent rien et qui sont payés des millions, ça me fait chier. Mais eux autres, ils dorment pas, ils travaillent fort, ils donnent quasiment leur âme à la cause. Fait que c'est eux autres qu'on devrait féliciter, parce qu'ils travaillent fort en tabarnouche. Fait que merci de m'avoir invité.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to introduce you to Branka Bradley. I'm super proud that she works for Meoskamin. She's our intergenerational trauma counselor, and she has a really extensive background that she is now going to share with us.
Yawangoa for having me. My English name is Branka Bradley. I'm from the Haudenosaunee Mohawk Nation. I'm not here today to talk badly about the police. That's not who I am, and that's not what I represent, and that's not how I've been raised. What I am here today is to acknowledge the systemic racism that's continued and the direct events of colonization, which I believe has contributed to the loss of these 6 people's lives. The same notions that have made people act in a way where they abuse the use of force continuum and they hurt others is the same notions that have created terms such as kill the Indian, save the man. And what I'm here today to do is to try to bring a little bit of words and peace and remedy how maybe we can be the change. I want to talk about my background being raised Indigenous in Akwesasne and how every day we were brought up to, in school, it wasn't like the residential schools where the RCMP had taken our children away, but they changed the demographic when I grew up in the 90s. And we were raised every day where we were taught the Ohandigole Dekwa, which meant the Thanksgiving prayer. And it's a prayer that it starts with every small being in creation to the every large being in creation, from the sun, the earth, the stars, us, and all of the animals, and combined we're one, we're equal. And if we can take some time and share a little bit of that notion, maybe we can be part of the change and change that demographic, change our thinking. Because regardless of where we are, where we come from, and what our background is, we are all brothers and sisters, just like the brothers and sisters who we lost. That's our brother, that's our sister, that could have been your mom, could have been your father, could have been your relative. So the message that I want to say today is to have a little bit more love and consideration for everyone. And I want to honor those who have passed on. When people pass away in our culture, we speak to them and we tell them that it's okay to go on their journey to Skyworld. And I wanted to let them know that they're surrounded in love. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Branka. I'd now like to ask Sven to come and speak.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Vince Telemack, and I'm a representative of Union United Church. For some of you that are not familiar, Union United Church is the very first Black church here in Quebec. Over 117 years of serving Montreal, hosting different initiatives to help not only the Black community, but different communities that are underserved. I stand before you today because I'm very angry. When I look up the RCMP and I look at their mission statement, this is what it says. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police is Canada's national police service. Proud of our traditions and confident in meeting future challenges. And this is what really gets me upset when I think about the lost lives behind me right now. It says, we commit to preserve the peace. We commit to preserve the peace, uphold the law, and provide quality service in partnership with our communities. This is what is making me feel uneasy. Quality service in partnership with our communities doesn't look like the lives that are lost behind me. Quality partnership looks like having initiatives to ensure that whenever we're dealing with different communities, we have things in place to ensure people are actually okay after a wellness check. Quality service and quality partnership with communities doesn't mean that someone gets hit with a police officer's car. It should be used to actually serve the community. It doesn't make any sense for the lives that are lost behind me and their families that are grieving. It doesn't make any sense for the land that belongs to them, for them to be suffering the most. It makes absolutely no sense. We have a saying in my community where we say, Black people have been taken from their land, and when it comes to Indigenous people, they have taken their land. So we have so many different things in common. We may suffer in different ways, but I'm here today to just remind everybody here in Canada, yes, we have issues. Systemic racism is not written in black and white. It's hidden underneath policies, attitudes, beliefs, and the way that people get treated. And unfortunately, the lives here were not treated as if they had enough value for people to have their interventions in different ways. A prime example is when we look at Brother Stephen Iggy. There's actually an organization that exists whenever they have wellness checks or interventions for the police to actually ride along with them. That was not done in his case. Every single time that has happened, most of the time, people don't walk away killed. And I'm here today to just remind every single person that as long as we're silent, as long as it's none of our business, as long as it's not my community, as long as it's XYZ, we will never really have a Canada that's for everybody else. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for that. So my name is Naguset. I'm the Executive Director of the Native Women's Shelter. I'm from Lac La Ronge, Treaty 6. I was adopted by a Jewish family, and I've been living in Montreal since I'm 3, working at the Native Women's Shelter since 1999, and I love my job. It's the best job ever. We made these posters, and the women at the shelter helped make these posters, and it was a really good experience for everyone to get together, but it was a really sad experience that we have to do this. So we did this because we want to honor Haas Lightning Saddleback, who was 15 years old. I have a 15-year-old. And Jason West, who's 57, and Tammy Bateman, who was 39, and Danny Knife, who was 31, and Jack Pichet, who was 31, and Iggy, who was 31. And it's important to say their names, and then I hope that when people take tobacco and they put it in the fire, that you pray also for their family, who must be absolutely devastated. And I don't understand why this continues. I don't understand why it seems like it's open season on Indigenous people, and it's just fine to kill us, and no one's going to complain, and no one's going to make a fuss about it. And I find it so troubling that it literally keeps me up at night. And I give a lot of thanks to my staff, because when I want to organize something, they all come and help me out. And it's important that we do this. But it's important that this stops. Like, why aren't there rallies across Canada saying that this shouldn't happen? And I reached out to the Black community because in my experience doing the work that I do, I've always looked to the Black community for their leadership when it comes to discrimination and racism. And Dr. Dorothy Williams is someone who I got to work with for youth protection, because she was advocating on behalf of the Black children that were being put into white families. And I said, Dorothy, I want to be you. Show me how to be like you. And when, in the United States, George Floyd died, there was huge rallies, and I don't know how to do that. So I'm grateful for those that showed up, and I think there's a lot of work that the Black community and the Indigenous community can do together, because we face so many of the same issues, and if we come together, we can be stronger and we can learn from you. So that's it for me. I'm now going to introduce Ellen Gabriel.
Thank you everybody for coming out tonight and for your show of solidarity just by showing up. It's really important that people get involved in this purported democracy and understand the genocidal history of Canada and how it continues to oppress, it continues to steal our land, it continues to steal our children, and it continues to kill our people. The RCMP have a long history of killing Indigenous people for the economic benefit of the church, for the economic benefit of the British and of Canada. Those are our colonizers. And we have new colonizers with Quebec. And I was trying to think of what kind of words I would say tonight on this issue of police killing Black Indigenous people of color. And I first of all want to say and express my condolences to each of the family, because you can imagine how it is when you lose a loved one, how much anger you feel and how much hurt you feel. And so, as Naka said and others have encouraged you, when you put down your tobacco afterwards, please think of those families and give them strength and love and light wherever they may be at this point in their lives. In researching, I was reading Kimberly Murray's, who is the special interlocutor for the buried unmarked graves. Thousands and thousands of Indigenous children across this country are lying in unmarked graves, killed by the people who they were supposed to be in their care, killed because they were Indigenous. And the fact that that mentality has not gone away in 2024 is up to every one of us to make that change. We have not been taught, even I was not taught in schools of the genocidal history of Canada. But I do know how school made me feel. School made me feel less than. And the dehumanization of Indigenous, Black, people of color, and especially now as we think of Palestine, the dehumanization of people is unacceptable. So I found this quote from Judith Butler, from her book, Frames of War. She said that our lives considered to be what Judith Butler describes as ungrievable. Ungrievable is a life, is one that cannot be mourned because it has never lived. That is, it has never counted as life at all. And grievable life is a valuable life, a person whose humanity is recognized, celebrated, and deemed worthy of protection. And as we think about those people, those innocent people, and I think also of Colton Boushie, who was killed unnecessarily. I think of Aname Akwash. I think of the women, the murdered and missing Indigenous women across this country who the RCMP get more money to investigate, but they actually do nothing. Because this is a government and all of its entities and authorities do not care about people of color. More so, they do not care about Indigenous people. Because they want every square inch of our land that we have left. I think I'm over here. They want every square inch of land that we have left. They want everything about us to be erased. It's about the erasure. That's what dehumanization is about, is the erasure of the people's language, the erasure of our connection to the land, our culture, to our relatives. It is the dehumanization that justifies the killing of these 5 people and many thousands of others that have been killed at the hands of police. We give the police too much power. We do not supervise how they are trained. Does anybody here know the training that police get? Should we care? I think so. Because I think they're trained to hate Indigenous people. I think they're trained to hate Black and Indigenous people of color. I think they are trained to look at us as less than human. And until we start putting the curriculum, Canada's genocidal curriculum, and all of its root causes, we will continue to see our brothers and sisters being killed at the hands of police when it was totally avoidable. Their deaths was totally avoidable. The police are not mental health workers, that's true. And there are programs right across Canada to have a de-escalation of a mental health worker when there are situations like this. Because let's face it, how do you get over surviving genocide? How? We continue to see it being repeated. We continue to see an apathetic society that when it's convenient for them, they will take notice, and when it's not, they will go on shopping in the shopping malls. You vote once every 4 years and think that's a democracy. That's not a democracy. You are handing your human rights over to people who could give, you know what. But I think what we should expect is not just more from the police, but more from the people that you vote for, because it is them that has been resisting the positive changes that could happen for reconciliation with Indigenous people. Reconciliation is not up to us. That's up to you guys. When we say we want our land back, it's all up to you guys too, in a sense. What are you willing to sacrifice in order to have reconciliation with the first peoples of this land? This is our land. There may be buildings, there may be concrete sidewalks, there may be roads, but the land belongs to us. And that's what the government knows, and that's why they don't care if the police are still killing Indigenous peoples, and they will not do anything. We're going to what? Ask the police to investigate themselves? We're going to ask the government to investigate themselves? There are commissions, there are reports that talk about the solutions, and none of them have been implemented. We are still experiencing the same levels of racism that was there 500 years ago, and that we are looked at as either drunken Indians, welfare-grubbing Indians. You know, we are a strain on the people's society and their taxes. Well, I can tell you that your taxes do not pay for the services that I and other Indigenous people receive. That's our money. And all the taxes that you pay are going into killing Indigenous people and Black Indigenous peoples of color. That's your tax dollars. Are you not concerned with how your money is being spent? Are you not concerned that more innocent people will be killed because nobody is doing anything? The police should be, as what Sven's read, they're there to provide a service and to protect. Instead, Indigenous people are afraid of the police. We do not trust the police. We trust less your government and the rhetoric that they use to say in public to placate people like yourselves. When does it stop? We know that the violations of the rules of law, international humanitarian law, have been broken. Every single humanitarian law has been broken. And that there is not a single state willing to step up to the plate to protect the human rights that's in their state. In fact, they are more in love with money than in love with the future generations and what we are passing on to them. They are more in love with what technology can provide, with what their investments will provide. And who do you think is standing in the way of those investments for resource extraction, for all kinds of development? It's Indigenous people that have been at the forefront of climate crisis. We have been at the forefront of standing up for the land, standing up for our rights, standing up for the people. I stand on really big shoulders of people before me who tried to get Canada's attention. They say, look, we're human beings. When you cut us, we bleed, right? If we cut you, you're gonna bleed too. We're the same. We're the same, you and I. We're different colors, we're different hair colors, we're different bodies, but we're still human beings, and that's not taught to police. They are taught to look at only color. They declare that they don't do racial profiling, but we know better, right? We know that's not true. They lie to us all the time. Anything that comes out of the government's mouth is a lie. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police said we've spent enough money on Indigenous people on policing. This is not a frickin' issue about policing, I'm sorry. This is about taking the lives of 5 innocent people who had mental health problems or were just guilty of being Indigenous. This is about getting justice for them and their families. This is about putting the police in their place. You do not touch me, you do not touch my family. You do not touch my land, you do not come on our lands and protect the corporate interests who are stealing our lands and who are protected by your laws, your very laws. So unless you are serious about a revolution, as I've heard in the last year, when it comes to Palestine, we need a revolution. Palestine has awoken us all, but I think what is going on right now for Indigenous people is that we need you, every one of you, to help us get out of this cycle of genocide that many generations continue to feel its impacts, continue to try and stop. How are we going to stop guys with weapons? How are we going to stop the racism that continues to be the bane of our existence? Start teaching your children. Start implementing those recommendations. Any solution must be led by Indigenous people, not by the RCMP, not by people like Mr. Trudeau or Mr. Legault, but by Indigenous people who know what we need to protect ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we are all living together. And if our deaths don't mean anything, then that's a sad reflection on society. But if it does, you will work with us. You will work with people and organizations like Nakasets, Native Women's Shelter. You will work with the Black community to ensure that their children are protected. Because every one of us has a role to play. We have an obligation under our Constitution of Kayanarakoa. We have an obligation. I don't care about Canada's laws and what it says about private property. I'm going to go on private property and I'm going to protect our lands if I have to. But we need your help. And I've been saying this for 34 years. When are you guys going to help us? When are you guys going to stand up with us? Write your member of parliament, write your member of the National Assembly and say this is unacceptable. And do not take their rhetoric. Pressure them. Because we are all human beings. These are people who had lives and that were taken from them. So please think about changing the curriculum in your schools, think about supporting Indigenous organizations, and think about how police are trained and make changes to how they are trained. Because right now, they're just killers, as far as I'm concerned. They do not protect us. They are part of the problem, as Human Rights Watch has said. RCMP have been under scrutiny for a long time, but they're like the Teflon Dons, nothing sticks to them. Let's make this stick to them and make them accountable. So, thank you for listening to me, and I thank you to the organizers. Thank you for the fire, for the smudge, for the tobacco, and for the song, because that's who we are as Indigenous people. We are people of the land. So please don't forget that. Tony Gawanaga.
invite the public or anyone that would like to offer their tobacco and their intentions for these families to the fire. This fire is at the center of our communities. It's also inside of you. So as we connect to each other, we can connect through that fire. And it's our job as men to take care of that fire for the women in our families. Claudia has the tobacco, if anyone else would like to come up. Yeah.